Welcome all those people who are coming in. Welcome Team Uganda, led by Aloysius, and everybody else. We've just done the prayer. We are now introducing our speaker, which I will gladly do. And I'd just like to read a short bio of Joseph Jorge. This is somebody I knew when we joined first year. We actually lived in the same hall 3. And I love to say that this is the person who made me buy if you know my Safaricom line, he's the one who pushed me to buy Safaricom line those days. Because he claimed that Airtel had fewer people there. So Joseph Choge is the current group managing director of Unga Group PLC, a limited liability company listed in the Nairobi Stock Exchange, offering human and animal nutritional products in brands such as eggs, Hostess, Jogoo and Amana for the human nutrition, as well as animal feeds under the Fugo brand. Joseph has previously held the position of CEO at Premier Foods Limited, Peptang, where within a year of being CEO at Premier Foods, he was able to double the profits of the company. He had previously worked as the General Manager Telecoms, IPS in Uganda, turning around the company from a loss-making firm into profitability and divesting at a better value. He has also worked as the GM Finance, Airtel Gabon, at Unilever East and Southern Africa, and Country Finance Manager, OPCO, Kenya, whatever that is. He prides himself to be a numbers person with a BSc in mathematics from the University of Nairobi and an MBA from the University of London. He's a certified public accountant, CPAK, and a certified public secretary. He's also an affiliate, a studying member of the Chartered Institute of Marketing, undertaking the postgraduate diploma in professional marketing. He's an alumnus of the Senior Management Leadership Program 2019, an all-rounded business, strategic, and marketing alliance leader. He loves riding his 1000cc BMW motorbike for leisure. Joseph was recognized among the top 40 under 40 by the Business Daily Africa. Having schooled in Turkana for primary school, Joseph has gone to show that one can turn into an advantage, having risen to top management and multinational organizations in his early 30s. It is a testimony that we can all live our dreams. And he's here to share with us his leadership nuggets, what has worked for him at the top, and even how he rose. Yes, and hopefully in our Power Monday, today we are going to be empowered enough to make our week a big success and to impact our lives for a long time after this. So thank you very much. I'd like to welcome Choge to speak to us this very beautiful morning.
Thanks. Thank you, Paul Peter. And good morning, everyone on the call.
Good morning.
I think Paul Peter has made me look like I'm from Mars. But thank you very much for the kind words. So I think this morning, going back to when I discussed with Paul what probably to speak about today, is just to share a little bit about my journey, what has worked, what leadership nuggets I can be able to share with the team. You can pick, we can also learn from each other. I'd like to make it as short as possible so that we can have an interactive session after, and we can probably learn from each other on how to grow even better. So I'm going to share my screen. And just for anyone who might not know, yeah, I was with Paul Peter at the University of Nairobi, Chiromo campus. Same hall, we used to buy Madarao. Madarao is sukuma wiki on the road. It's called Madaru, but somehow we found a way to call it Madarao. Yeah, and what an experience that was. How do you share sound? Share sound. Cool. Fantastic. I just confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Excellent. All right. So I think this morning, I'll just simply share the leadership nuggets that I think I've picked over time, what I think has worked, what has probably propelled me to where I am today. And it's probably something each and everyone can borrow. But I'm also keen to learn from the people on the call, what other nuggets can, help sustain the momentum, probably grow even bigger, and become a better person in the society. So first of all, I'd like to introduce the company I work for today. I work for Unga Holdings Limited. So as a group managing director of Unga Holdings, I lead two businesses. One is human nutrition, which is called Unga Limited, and one is called Unga Farm Care East Africa Limited, which is on the animal nutrition. And our vision is nutrition for life. So we provide nutritious foods to be able to feed both human and animals. And our mission is there to just achieve and maintain market leadership in the provision of the superior human and animal nutrition for the benefit of all the stakeholders within the East Africa community. Yeah, we are led by several, core values: self-responsibility, trust, respect, integrity, teamwork, continual improvement, and most importantly, innovation, which up to now, I don't think we've been very good at. And it's one of the key pillars that we're going to be reviving to ensure that we remain relevant into the next century. Unga has been there for more than 100 years. So the question is, how do we as a leadership of today take Unga into the next century as a viable business? And like I mentioned, we have both the human nutrition, where I hope the people on this call today use all our products. From the maize, we have Jogoo and Hostess, and of course, Hodari for most of the Western Kenya market. Most of you may not know Hodari. It's a fighter brand in that region. We have wheat, which is X, and there are various variants of X. Your favorite porridge, Famila. Rice, Amana. So when you go to the supermarket, please look for Amana brands of rice and pulses. So your Ndengu, your Nyayo beans, Roskoko, you name it. So this is our portfolio of the human nutrition, and we intend to expand our portfolio into the food space as part of our growth trajectory. On the other hand, on the animal nutrition, we are the market leaders in the animal food space with a brand called Fugo, where we do feeds, minerals, premixes, dog food, and other animal health products. So if you are thinking about feeding your poultry, your cows, your pigs, your sunguras, we have you, we got you. We give them you minerals, your canine food if you need dog food. And of course, for those who do farming, your milking jelly, your other, deep acaricides and things like that, we provide as Unga. So I suppose leadership at one time when we were growing up or back in the day meant that one meant muscles, but today it means getting along with people. It's about influence and not authority anymore. So that is what I believe about leadership. And for me, it's very simple. Leadership is ability for you to inspire willing action from the team that you lead. If you're able to inspire your team to go an extra mile, if you are not there and people are able to do and rally behind a cause, then for me, you've made it as a leader. You've won in leadership. So it's the ability to inspire willing action. Okay. So my philosophy is very simple. It should be centered around people. You take care of your people and they will take care of business, somebody once said. This has worked for me all the time. Most of the time in organizations, we forget the key resource, which is the ultimate resource for you, which is the employees. And you have problems, a small problem in terms of profitability. You go and cut small things like tea, I don't know, people's pension, you freeze or things like that. Yet the impact of those things to the bottom line of the organization is very small and it's not worth what you're doing. But the impact in terms of how you discourage people, how you make people not show up fully to the organization is massive. So we need to be very conscious that the best resource you can ever have as an organization is the people. So let's take care of our people and they'll take care of our business. Now, one of the key conversations about today, and we had a discussion with Paul Peter, was the question, I mean, there was a viral video that went out when I was leaving Peptang Premier Foods. And the question was, how did it get here? And probably that would be the center of what I share today. How did we get here? So I'll just give you a small snippet and you tell me if you can hear the sound, Paul Peter.
Yes, we can hear the sound. Now, on your side, sometimes it fluctuates. You yourself, when you're speaking, I don't know what's causing that. It doesn't break, but goes on up and down. But we are hearing the sound of the clip. Yeah.
Okay. So I think you can get the longer version online or on my LinkedIn page or just Google the name. And the question was, how did it get here? And I tell people sometimes I don't even know how it got there. But it boils down to treating people like humans, you know, like you care deeply about your people. And it was it was an experience, an unforgettable experience. I'd just gone to work, hoping to close my, my laptop, go home, and then these people just took me out and did that parade of honor for my exit. For a moment, I thought I'd done a mistake by leaving the organization, and it's an experience I'll take, down memory lane in my life. So the question is, how did it get here? So the beginning, the building blocks for me, I think it all started with humble beginnings, where I went to school, not necessarily the most privileged of a kid. Mom was in shags. We had a large family of 8 kids. So it was survival for the fittest, I was exposed to various experiences in life. I understood, coming from the humblest of grounds, and it tends to make you understand life and be sensitive to people, And I've just from my family background, I've learned that family is everything for me, yeah, and it's the support and the foundation. So my wife is my best friend, and we actually met in campus. So Paul Peter would know her very well. And my children inspire me to be patient, to go out and hustle every day. And it's a huge responsibility. And this responsibility, is the one that drives me. So Brenda and I are blessed with Kimberly, Kevin, Karen, and Kyle. And we thank God every day. And what we try to do is inculcate the same ethos that we picked during our growing up from our parents to them. As the next generation. So my leadership was molded way back. I was in a primary school called Lokishar in Turkana, crazy place. We used to take 3 biscuits and uji for lunch and dinner. It really, I learned survival. I experienced the worst of poverty. You know, I had my bro there, so support and dependency from my bro. You know, while growing, you know, during breaks, when we were at home, would sell milk for mom had a few cows, would sell milk to the near center. I went ahead and even started, you know, buying milk from a different town and selling, and became a very profitable business. I didn't even want to go to campus. It's a whole story. It's a story for another day. Somehow my dad convinced me to go and meet the likes of Peter. And probably the best thing is actually that I met my wife on campus. So yeah, probably worth it in the end. And when I look back, probably Dad was right. I was a school head boy at my high school in Litain High School back in Kericho. I was a Boy Scout. I was head of cheering squad. So it's never a dull moment. I always say it has to be fun. Whatever it is that you're doing has to be fun. And played basketball, would consider that vichwangumos of school. Yet in the end, ended up being the school head boy. So it's a mix of both sides of life to be able to you know, bring out you know, the best in me. Now, down to my leadership nuggets. Yeah, one thing I think that a leader needs to have is sincere enthusiasm. And enthusiasm for a business, its product and its mission. You can't fake that. And that's, I live. When I enter into an organization, I eat, breathe, dream what I do. Yeah. So when you are sincere as a leader and passionate, that is just so contagious within the organization. People tend to rally behind because the leader believes. Okay. So that enthusiasm has to be from deep within. And you won't believe it. It's very contagious from there. I'll tell you, for example, the day I was appointed to move to Unga, we were just seated here with a few of my family. And I mean, the game just started there. And just listen to this. You know?
Public demand.
Sasa tumesema unga ni jogoo. Na kama tumesema ni chapati, chapati ni X. Nikisikia mambo ya ajabu, utaona maajabu.
Na ukisikia pembe?
Nikisikia pembe, unadunga na pembe. Kwa hivyo sisi kama serikali tumesema, kwa sababu tulikuwa tunapenda Orchid Valley. Tunakula Orchid Valley na ugali. Asanteni sana.
So you can't fake that. You can't fake that. It has to come from deep within. And I enjoy what I do every day. And I say, if you enjoy what it is that you do, you'll never have to work a moment in your life. Okay? You have a reason to wake up every day and just to go and grind. And that to me, my wife was just recording this. Somehow, somebody in the office saw this thing, and it within the office itself, it was crazy. Yeah? Everyone, it was my introduction to the organization. Everyone wants to know who's this guy. Okay. So that you cannot fake. You cannot fake enthusiasm. So you have to be sincere about what you love, what you do, enjoy what you do. Another important nugget that I would give the team today is you have to be a great communicator. Great communication skills. Leaders must motivate, instruct, and discipline the people they're in charge of. Yeah. And one integral part of communication is listening. You have to listen. And when I say listen, look at somebody in the eye and listen keenly. Listen with like you want to listen, you want to, to hear what the person is saying. So communication is very important. How you project yourself, how you talk to your people. So what I can say is, if you think today that you're not the best of communicators, I would ask you to, practice. Go to if you have to do it in front of your wife, to the mirror, or join Toastmasters, for example, as a place for communication. Please do. Go and practice your communication skills. It's very important. You can't be able to rally people if you're not able to talk to those people. Okay. Secondly, I think an important aspect that I've learned along the way is charisma. So simply put, people are more likely to follow the lead of those they like. So are you a likable person? Are you warm to the people? Okay. the best leaders are well-spoken, approachable, and friendly. Yeah, they show sincere care. Do you show sincere care to your teams? And even as you grow to at your places of work, in the leadership place that you are, and I normally say, everyone is a leader without a title. Okay, if you've not read that book, please read that book. Leader Without a Title. Amazing book to have. So charisma is an important aspect. Yeah. So be a person who cuts across, the teams, and be approachable, so that when people have issues, they can be able to come to you and be able to resolve together. And 90% of the time, the problems people have, they have the answers they have the solution to those problems. They just need a sounding board, somebody to come to, ask the right questions, and people are able to solve the problems themselves. Another important aspect is empowerment. Yeah? You as a leader, you have to have faith in the ability of your team. Yeah, so you have to train and equip your teams. If you are a micromanager, you're always in the business of your teams, then it doesn't work. You have to believe that your team is capable. That's the reason why you hire them in the first place, or that's why they're in those positions in the first place. And if you don't think they rise to the occasion, then why don't you upskill them, trainings and things like that, okay? So you have to trust your team fully, and you should know that they are up to any challenge, okay? So empowered employees are more likely to make decisions that are in the best interest of the company and the customer as well. If you don't empower your team, then they show up knowing that it's you. It's the job is yours. So they just do the bare minimum. Let them be responsible for what it is that they do. You also have to have managerial competence, okay? So most of the times, you try to create leaders from people who are simply good at their jobs. Yeah. But, I normally say, if you're too good at your job and you're not, a balanced, well-rounded person, a leadership will want to keep you at the same place, because you're a professional. You're good at if it's lab, you're good at lab stuff. So people would want to keep you there. Okay. So to prove that someone has the competencies, yeah, you should be able to, be a person that is able to inspire people, motivate people, mentor people, and direct your team, So not necessarily because you're a good scientist that we say that you're a great leader. No, leadership is beyond the professional competence that you have. Okay, so that gives you the base, but we need an all-rounded leader out of you. Okay, so you need to understand the processes, goals, and things like that within the organizations, but most importantly, be able to rally the team. One key thing that I've noticed about being a good leader is indecisiveness. You have to be very decisive. Okay, most of the times, people who lead teams or even the guys in the team don't make decisions. They're very indecisive. They don't like taking risks. They fear failure and things like that. You have to hold yourself accountable first. So you have to be willing to take a risk of decision making. Every decision is a risk by itself. But I normally say, as long as I have like 70-80% of the information, and I think it guides me in the right direction, I'll take that call. If it backfires, only 5% of the time will it backfire. 95% of the time you'll get it right. So just take the call and move, okay? Now, another aspect that I've seen along the way is loyalty, and loyalty is reciprocal, okay? If you express loyalty, to your team, and they'll reciprocate the same to you, okay? So you as a leader are put there, you have to see yourself as being in a position of service to your team, okay? And once you do that, they know that you are there as a leader to serve them, then you unleash the full potential of that team, okay? And they offer loyalty in the end. And people will go over and beyond to be able to achieve, your vision, because they believe in what you're saying and how you're carrying the team, forward, okay? Integrity. This one goes without saying. If you're not a man of integrity, then you don't deserve to be a man or woman of integrity. You don't deserve to be in leadership in the first place. Okay. If people see evidence that there's a lack of integrity, it might be impossible to recover from that. So this one, I don't even have to belabor the point. It's a non-negotiable. Okay, good leaders do what is right, even if it isn't the best thing for the current project, even the bottom line. You have to do what it is that is right. And once you do that, it reflects on who you are, and the team picks. Okay. So beyond those, so what I've mentioned here up there are my key nuggets that I live by, that I have seen work to be able to create a winning environment and a winning leadership. But I normally say, I mean, with me, I live with some quotes, some words that have been said by other people that tend to drive me every day. And these are the quotes that I normally, and you can be able to read from the screen. The road to success is paved with hard work, perseverance, and patience. We didn't just get here. Somebody might think because Choge is a CEO today of a group entity in a listed organization, it must be an easy ride or he knew someone. Every job that I've gotten since the first job out of campus, nobody has ever come in and said, I know this guy. Or somehow God opens ways for people who trust them. I'll tell you, for example, Unga job. I didn't apply for that job. I just got a call, an anonymous call from a recruiter from South Africa, something I didn't know, Same thing for, the job at Airtel or IPS. Somebody found me on LinkedIn. And it's a question of how do you position yourself in the marketplace, okay? So, and one thing I want to say, leadership is not about you, yeah? It's about the people, but, some of the leaders' best work is not what the leader does, but what he or she inspires to be done. And if you remember my first quote, leadership is the ability to inspire willing action. Okay. Yeah. So another nugget that I live by is, say this one from Tony Blair. The art of leadership is saying no. Okay. Not saying yes. It is very easy to say yes. And this is something I actually struggled with in the initial part of my leadership journey. I really didn't know how to say no. I don't like disappointing people, okay? But that's the easiest thing to do, okay? But the question is, you can actually say it in a caring way. You've said no, and people understand why you've said no. You can't always be a yes person for a leader. And most people struggle with this. They tend to want to please everyone. They don't want to disappoint people. Sometimes business has to be done and you have to put your best foot forward and be a firm leader. Okay. Another thing that I'll tell you is, I didn't grow into my leadership position by having to pull any other person down. Yeah? So leaders of character don't build themselves up by tearing others down. Don't tear others down. You see, the same way you went up is the same way you'll come down. If one day, if things don't work out. So don't be the person that, and I've met people who think that by stepping on people's toes on their way up, you have to put somebody else down for you to be seen as shining. It doesn't work like that. And you'll never enjoy the blessing of being at that helm of the organization, okay? So you have to build other people up, okay? And the best leaders are often the ones smart enough to get out of the way of smarter people. And I'm saying this is, you as a leader, you're not the one that does everything. You actually rally the team to be able to achieve a cause. So you as a leader know that there are smarter people than you. The reason that I'm the head of Unga today doesn't mean that I don't understand milling. I didn't know anything about milling before 1st of December. But I am conscious enough and aware to get out of the way of smarter people and actually just provide an enabling environment for them to win. And when they win, I win in the end, okay? So don't be your own stumbling block, okay? So, and something I said before, don't stop doing the right thing, even when the wrong thing is receiving more celebration. So there'll come a time when, and that's the point of integrity and things like that. When the people are cheering you because you did something wrong, you broke a rule and things like that, the party won't last for long, okay? So do the right thing. Okay. And you as a leader, the more you say I, the less the team will feel we. Okay. So it's about us. It's about we. It's not about I. It's not about Joseph, it's about the team. If you learn that, then you in my opinion, you are 75% there. Okay. And the first rule of leadership, for those who are in leadership, who aspire to be in leadership, is everything is your fault. Okay, the buck stops with you. So anytime I go to the board and we are being hammered, I take full responsibility. I never pass the buck to my team. But when we come back down, now we square it out pamoja. Ni aje muliniangusha watu wangu, you know. But at that point, when I'm with my, with my board or the people I report to, I would not say it was Jim or Tom or Agnes who didn't do what. The buck stops with me. So I take full responsibility for the actions of the day. So very few things have to be done today. When we rush too fast, we make needless mistakes. So it's never too serious. So you want to kill yourself to finish everything today. So don't kill yourself. And if you are to put so much pressure on yourself, you tend to make mistakes. Yeah? And most of you will probably move to new organizations. And this quote really helped me when I was moving into Unga. When you're a new leader, there are two ways to approach the initial days. So my early days, handle your biggest problems first, okay, while you have energy behind you. When you come into the organization, you are fresh energy, you're psyched up to go the extra mile and all that stuff. So you can decide to, handle the biggest problems, and it's 80%, 80-20 rules. Don't go for the small things that don't move the needle. Go for the bigger things that move the needle. Or you can decide to build up trust capital through getting small wins before tackling the biggest problems, So either way, try to understand which one would work better for you. For me, I went for, the small wins here and there, get the trust of the team, so build that trust capital, getting small wins here and there. Then we chew on the bigger things as we go by. Yeah? And I know I say that I can be good at things, or one or two things that I do very well, but not necessarily the best at it all. But that's not important for a leader. What is important to you as a leader is that you can actually balance, all the things, all the different moving pieces within the leadership. And when you are a leader, and this applies for both us in leadership, politicians who lead people, the words of a leader carry great weight. So you have to choose your words very carefully. Just don't talk, don't release them without thinking about it. Listen more than you talk. There are words that you mentioned that can actually break someone's spirit, demotivate teams, or even cause fracas within organization, go slows and things like that. So you have to watch your words very carefully so that you don't, cause friction or make things, fall out of the way. Yeah. And like I said, you're not a manager. You have to be a leader. You can't lead at the highest level if you manage at every level. Let people empower teams. Let the people do the things. And sometimes I say, just sit back, relax, guide the team, and enjoy the accolades as well, without too much pressure. Okay. There's something I had written on my LinkedIn. If it's lonely at the top, you're not doing something right. Most of the times people say, it's lonely at the top. So it tends to be, people feel like it's a requirement of leadership. When you grow to the top, people don't get to be with the teams, not approachable or things like that. No, it's a consequence of selfishness, So as you grow, build relationships with your team members, with friends, with guys who will, would be your crew when you are at the top. So it should never be lonely at the top. If it's lonely at the top, then think about it. You're doing something wrong. Now, you as a leader have to have a vision of where you want to go. You can't blow an uncertain trumpet. It has to be very clear where you want to take the team. Okay. So today, if I'll go to Unga and say, I am looking at doubling my size of my business from a 18 billion shilling business to about 35, 36 billion shilling top line business. I'm very clear in my head. And the question is the how now, that I seek to sit with the team to know where it is that we want to go. How can we get there? Is it through organic growth, new product development? Is it through mergers and acquisitions? How do we get there? I am very clear this is where I want to go. So how do I unlock the expertise of the team to be able to take the team there? Okay. The other thing is, in organizations, people tend to have a lot of meetings, and it's one thing I discourage. If you don't have to have a meeting, call someone, pick up the phone, and just call. Let's finish this thing up front. So I say, people, from Thomas Sowell, people who enjoy meetings should not be in charge of anything. And I repeat that: if you enjoy meetings, please don't be in charge of anything. Yeah, you're wasting people's valuable time. Okay, it has to be necessary and crisp to the point. So the leader of the meetings has to be very clinical about those meetings so that we don't waste people's time. Okay? If you want to know whether a leader is successful and effective, don't look exclusively at the leader, look at the health of the people they lead. So if you see my conversation today, it's all centered around the people you lead. If you want to know whether the leader is succeeding, the health, the happiness of the people, the engagement of the team, more or less determines whether the team is engaged. The best leaders are listeners, and I said earlier that you have to listen to your team. Leaders identify their followers by paying attention to their input and concerns, and listen. The art of listening. Have eye contact. Connect to the person you're talking to. Don't do those things of you're just giving the ear, but your mind is not even, there. Okay. When you listen to others, they listen to you. When you stop listening to your followers, they will stop talking to you. It's as simple as that. Yeah? Somebody said, when I talk to managers, I get the feeling that they are important. Listen to that. When I talk to a manager, I get the feeling that they're important. When I talk to a leader, I get the feeling that I am important. Okay. So that for me, between me and you, is a differentiator of who a manager is and who a leader is. Simple. And as I conclude today, I say victims tend to decide problems, but leaders provide solutions. So are you the kind of guy or lady who goes there bitching about, we have problems, this is not working? Or are you the person who identifies the problem but comes with the solutions? When you come to the table, let's pick solutions. So you, as a person, be a leader wherever you are, even without a title. Provide solutions. Don't just recite problems. Okay. And while at it, people, remember to always have fun. It's never too serious. I enjoy my riding. I play with the kids over here. Shoot pool with Brenda. And just have fun. You only live once, my people. And if you make it too serious, you'll miss out on life. Okay. So know and remember this: the toughest person to lead is always yourself, not the people. You. To be successful in any endeavor, we need to learn how to get out of our own way, because we can be our own stumbling block. Okay. So know how to lead you. Know how to improve you. Okay, if it's books, if it's getting time to meditate, if it's time to freshen yourself, if it's time to, go out to network, please lead yourself first before you can say you can go out and lead other people. And when it's all said and done, thank you all very much for returning me to Babe. So as you can see there, if lost, return to Babe, and Babe is Brenda there. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Back to you, Paul Peter, to moderate any questions and answers.
Thank you very much, Joseph. That was very insightful, very informative. I loved it. I just wanted to listen to it more and more and more. Yeah, of course, I remember that you met Brenda there. Yeah, we are good friends together with Brenda. And picking from almost everything you've written is dear to, you've said is dear to me, and I've put this in a book, of course, I loved the word approachable. If we are leaders and we cannot be approached, then something is wrong.
Correct.
So your people-centered, inspiring, willing action, taking care of your people, and and passion. You know, I've always believed, I've just learned something else about you, which I didn't know. But I suspected, because people grow into leadership because they've learned to sell. Yeah, I've
Yes.
just learned that you also need some selling. Yeah, and
Yeah.
at least we share there. I also started selling in +6, and that's the way I've
Okay.
moved. Yeah. So I just wanted to know also how sales skills have contributed also to your growth. That would be my first question. Sales skills. I always insist when we are talking about leadership, and in my book, I say the first step when you are learning to lead is to learn to sell your ideas, learn to communicate, and all these other things. How is your sales skill? How do you attribute your first business days, the first steps you took in business in your childhood into this development? How did it build into your attitude, into your skills, and things like that? The other thing perhaps you may want to touch on is during these past 2 years, people have had difficulties. Many companies have had difficulties with manpower, where they are now trying to balance the budget. And people, a lot of CEOs have bought into this philosophy of, when you want to manage the budget, you lower the size of your manpower. I don't know what is your philosophy around that, and how do you handle it? And then people can also put their questions on chat or raise up their hands. Then you will be able to ask.
All right. Thanks, Paul Peter. Let me tackle the two questions. So number one, you're so spot on. Selling is a key component of any leadership. And if you can't sell yourself first, for people to know who you are, what it is that you want to articulate, the passion in you, then you're incognito. You don't exist in the first place. So I think I learned the art of selling. When I told you, mimi nimeuza sambusa huko nyumbani, nimeuza maziwa, thriving. And negotiation, when you go to a table and you want to negotiate your way into somebody's, somebody's offering something and you want to negotiate a bigger pie. Yeah. If you don't know how to talk, if you don't know how to sell, then you are an unstarter. And this is one thing, especially the people who are in this call today. If there's one thing that I want you to do for your children, forget the thing of getting them to do what kind of schools, you're paying very expensive fees and everything. Please grow their confidence, grow their communication skills. Let them be able to go out there. Dunia ni kujitetea. Yeah. When you're out there, it's a murky world. The people who can be able to negotiate their way through stuff are the people who are going to grow in organizations. If you can't speak for yourself, then nobody is there to speak for you. Okay, so let's bring out an all-rounded kid who's able to take care of themselves, and that's what I don't know if my parents did or the hustle made me, somehow come through with it. During COVID time, it was tough times, and like you said, the easiest decisions for most leadership would be to cut down on numbers, reduce staff and things like that. But a visionary leader would know that this is the time to invest, to be ahead of competition, because every competition is trying to safeguard what they have. If you know that it's time bound, you can go back to history. It's a matter of time. If you invest more in people and R&D during that period of time, it's going to pay off. So today, you actually enjoy the fruits of having not disenfranchised the team during that period. And when you come out strong. So for me, it's very different. When you have to chicken out, I want you to look at the bigger picture. Look beyond the 2 years, okay, of when this pandemic will come. And how do you invest in the people so that they are resilient enough to be able to go to help the company grow? And the funny thing is, Paul, we actually grew through COVID. We posted double-digit growth through COVID because we invested in people more instead of actually retreating.
Thank you very much. You agree with me. I agree with you absolutely. I've always been opposed to this idea that we need to cut people and chase people away. By the end of the day, it jeopardizes the vision, the growth, and everything else. And you have other people who are cussing you around.
Yeah.
Because they are the people who turn the wheels of growth. Thank you very much. Yes, do we have questions? People can raise up their hands. and say something. Somebody has asked, Kevin, how do you balance on the management and the supervision duties minus holding these meetings? Of course, you said, I've always said that there are people who come out of a meeting to plan for another meeting. It becomes very monotonous. There is no progress. So how do you balance? That is what Kevin is asking.
Kevin, thank you for the question. And Peter has put it very well. There are people who are obsessed with meetings. You come out from one into the next, like you're always in meetings. So my point is, I don't say that meetings are bad. Meetings are necessary, okay? But have to be clean, crisp meetings that you get to the point as fast as possible. And the leader of that meeting sets the tone. You don't let people belabor points and waste a lot of time. So when you're out of meetings, if you don't have to have a meeting and you can call someone to do it, let's just do it, okay? But this idea of people wanting to be, every small thing, let's have a meeting, or I'm in meetings. When you go out there, you tell people, hey, I'm so busy, meetings from morning to evening. That person doesn't work. Okay, so in terms of balancing management, there's many ways of balancing management. If I go to your question, Kevin, yeah, I mean, you just give clear KPIs for people to be able to achieve, and it's easy. KPIs are black or white, whether somebody has done or not, whether somebody works from home, works from wherever. There it's about the result, not necessarily having to have had meetings or supervise the guy until he's suffocating. No. But that doesn't leave people off the hook. We have to hold people accountable.
Thank you very much. It's accountability. You see, if like you were saying, if people know what they are supposed to do, and then they should be able to do it or be accountable. You see, otherwise it's an excuse. So meeting necessarily, but I know there are many leaders of salespeople who must meet and write the board and the scores and everything. So they are necessary ones, and there are those ones that we can always do without, and activity will still continue and spend that time better producing. Good.
Correct.
Any other question, comment, or there are lots of comments in the chat. People are very happy with your presentation. Very grateful. Yes. Who is that? Is someone with a question? Wanted to ask? Somebody is asking something. Wanted to ask, how do you plan your strategy for the new organization that you join? In summary, that is, when you join a new organization, how do you plan your strategy? I'm not sure I'm clear with that.
I understand the question. I understand the question. So Patrick, you asked a question because even today, just 6 months into Unga, and I'm presenting my first strategic plan to the board on 23rd of this month. So fingers crossed that it actually passes. And how did I do it? How did I go through the approach? So number one, I first landed into the organization and started learning, because it's milling. It's a whole new organization. Looked at the past results, go 5 years, 10 years, from now, how have we evolved over time? Okay. So number one, figure out where we are coming from. Then sit with the team. The teams know where we need to go. Get nuggets from the team. Team will tell you, oh, we need to divest into, there's some products that are not working. We need to just let them go. You go look at the P&Ls of those particular products. You decide these products probably don't need to go into the next phase. You cull them out because they just waste energy. You look at potential new, today we sit back and I say, Unga, we are known for milling. So we are in animal feeds, human feeds. This is, but is that what will, it's a commodity market. It's a red ocean. How do we protect ourselves and take our business into a blue ocean that will be sustainable into the future? Okay. And today we sit and say, we need to morph into a proper food company, not just milling, but everything around that. We put that in our strategic document and what kind of, foods, nutritious foods that we are looking for in line with our vision. Then I went around Patrick, to all the factories. We have around 5 factories across the country, and met people, met teams, get ideas from those teams. What do you think? Where do you think we want our company to go? You know, I'm not suggesting anything political, but almost like a bottom-up approach, going, you know, picking from teams. The ideas that sit on the floor are amazing, and they are just yearning to share and be part of the growth of organization, and pick those ones together. Then we come and sit as a leadership team and define key strategic pillars around people, around new products, around mergers and acquisitions, around if it's backward integration, for example, today, should I continue buying maize and wheat from traders, or should I backward integrate and have agriculture as part of our, we weigh the pros and cons. So it's a whole brainstorming aspect that leads you into a proper document that guides the organization to the next 5 years or so.
Thank you. I like that approach. And I always know that if people don't buy into the idea, it becomes your own idea.
Exactly.
And coincidentally, there is a one of us here who recently published a paper on a PhD paper on why strategic plans don't get implemented. Maybe he'll comment on that. But as we go into that,
would love to hear that.
Yes. Aloysius has his hand up. You can say something.
Okay, thank you, Joseph, for the sharing. And I'm also a student of management in monitoring and evaluation. But my question is, in most of the times, people, especially in the organization, they respect the offices, not the ideas. Like if the CEO, maybe the manager of the organization can even, they always respect the office and what he says. And you find sometimes they don't respect the ideas, probably. And you find in most of the time, the organization can go in a wrong way. So I don't know, how do you advise that? Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Aloysius, it's okay. So that, in an authoritarian kind of leadership, you will tend to have, that kind of setting where people, fear an office. And sometimes you confuse fear for respect. I call myself a different breed of leadership, because I said it's not about authority, it's about influence. So I want the teams, my last organization, for the people to be crying when I was leaving, is because the lady at the shop floor who was doing a manual job, probably on a minimum wage, would actually walk into my office without blinking and just come and share that, oh, my daughter has had a kid, or my children have a problem going to school and things like that. I may not have all the solutions, but you can brainstorm on what is it that we can do to be able to assist each other. So it's a question of how approachable that office is, as opposed to people respecting the office for the entity that it is. Okay? The office has to have a human face. Today, and the leaders of today, and most of you in the call are very young people, you should be going out there. If you are a leader, do a TikTok video with your teams and be able to, it's about the product or something that is trending on that day, and you create that bond that people will be free to be able to engage with the office. You demystify the office of the CEO, you demystify the office of your leadership position. You are it's just that you are in a leadership position, but you're just part of them. They need to know that. And when that is there, then there's easy, free-flowing communication between the two entities, and it becomes a win-win in the end. So I hope that helps, Aloysius.
Yeah, and of course, maybe he's also alluding to the fact that as leaders, you said it, we've got to weigh our words, because it will be less impactful if somebody else mentions something than if a leader says it. Yeah, so, somebody of your level may dismisses somebody maybe using certain words. It will pain them more than if somebody of their level do it. So there are words that will be weighed according to the position of the leader, But then there is this communication and getting things done, which should be demystified. Otherwise, people start fearing, and then they will not even bring the good ideas that they have. And most of the times, like you are saying, the best ideas will come from, most of us will look at things from inside. But the people down there will have a broader view. they are listening to other things outside, and they will bring in some ingredients that can make us even go further. Yeah, before I go to Chris, there was a question in the chat, but I would like to give Musa, maybe you can speak about that strategy thing before we leave that subject, and then we go to the two other questions.
Yes, Peter, thank you very much for the opportunity. And I like what Choge has said, and I noticed his name is Joseph. Joseph, if you didn't realize, Joseph in the Bible was also the CEO of Unga Limited in Egypt. So
that's a good one.
Your namesake was the CEO. A quick one. The strategic plan, apology, I'm writing, but I'm in a separate. Strategic plan failures, what I discovered is that majority of the failures come because of lack of ownership. Nobody is owning what you are thinking of doing. So you end up with a beautiful document, but no one really is there to implement it. Or you have hired a consultant who came along and gave you a beautiful document, but at the implementation stage, they're gone. So you are left with people who are wondering, this thing of Joseph, this thing of Choge, and I. But if you are the one who drives the implementation phase, it will have a big impact because you want to see your vision come to pass. A typical example is what I saw in the previous case. Is it Jomo Kenyatta or KU? I can't remember which university. One of the dean was given a responsibility to come up with a plan, and for some strange reason, she was now left to be the head. And she said, I was given that same responsibility to implement what I was writing. So it was quite easy for me. So what you're writing will be easier for you to implement if you own it up and you implement it. So the ownership is very key in strategic plan management.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you very much for that contribution. Yes, so we will go to how do you deal with toxic people, passive, aggressive, and seem determined to sabotage your efforts, if they exist in your team?
No, you know, in most organizations, you will not miss such people. Eh? So number one is try to find out how did they end up there. Okay, is it because did we alienate them that they decided they feel left out, or why did it get there? Why did they see they don't like any efforts? Why do they want to sabotage anything that's being done? Why do they have this negative vibe within the organization? So you try to understand how did it come to that. But most of the time, there are people who are just bent on they don't even want to understand what's happening, or they just have a negative attitude. Okay, so what I can tell you is just fire them. They'll poison the rest of the team. You can't keep them. You have to exit them from the organization so that they don't poison the entire organization. But before you do that, just try to understand why is it? Is there something that they wanted that were not given? They don't feel appreciated as part of the team. Are you the one as a leader who's pushed them to that corner? If that's the case, then reflect upon yourself and see what can be changed. Sometimes you just give somebody a new lease of life and you won't believe it's the same person again. Okay, by appreciating them, let them know that they appreciated, their inputs are valued and things like that, and they will see a change. But if after doing everything within your powers to be able to bring them, in line with the vision, in line with the vibe of the organization, and they're not doing that, then you can't keep them in the organization. They'll poison the rest.
Thank you very much. There is an article I loved. I wrote a long time ago. Judas will always appear in everything. And then you've got to learn how to deal with it. Yeah, it's always part of my book. Thank you very much. Next, we will go. I think we need to just answer maybe 1 or 2 more questions because we are out of time. Chris, you had your hand up earlier. Then there were 2 questions on the chat. Then Chris Mwindu.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
go ahead. Go ahead.
You can hear me, eh?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Mine is just to thank Choge for that presentation. And actually, we have learned a lot. Actually, I like his approach on how to balance life and everything. So my question is on his part on how maybe one who is for myself, I'm in the banking sector, maybe how to balance maybe between work and family and everything. Let's say like you're in a busy department, maybe what on his part, what can he advocate on doing? Maybe Monday to Friday you're at work, on weekends you also are thinking about work. So what is your approach on that?
Okay. I think for me, Chris, it's very simple. If it's important to you, you will create time. Okay. For me, family comes first. And these kids grow up so fast, you will miss the boat trying to please the employer, going the extra mile back in the office. If it's important to you, you will create time. If you can be able to leave work earlier, I mean after work and come and play with the kids a little, please do. If you have to take leave and take them for a small holiday, it doesn't have to be expensive or anything like that, but just go, please do. Just be deliberate about it. Go. Kwanza sisi wanaume tumeangusha sana. Pelekeni warembo date. You know? Take your wives out. You know, once in a while, like a Friday evening, peleke out. Just keep the bonding. You know, when it's all said and done, it's about family. It's everything. That's why it revolves around. That's why we hustle. That's why we grind. And if we lose that part, in fact, if tomorrow in my tombstone, it says that he was a great leader, he led which companies, but he failed at family, I would have failed at life. That's why I make it very deliberate. You should see me playing with the kids here, and you come down to their level, you know? And if it's Brenda, you hang out, you make sure she's your best friend. And you know, for her to become your best friend or for you to have that kind of flow, you have to invest in it. You have to take out that coffee. You have to appreciate a gift and kuna ile 5 languages of love, vile tafuta hiyo kitabu and apply it. But be deliberate about family. Be deliberate. If you win in your bank, if you grow to be the Oigara or I don't know, a warrior of your entity, but if you fail the family, you fail. If you have that in mind, you'll work on it and you'll create.
Thank you very much. It always said the work can wait as you show your children the rainbow, but the rainbow won't wait
Exactly.
as you work.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you can always show them the rainbow. Take time to play with them. Otherwise, you will never connect and there will not be any other time.
Yeah.
Somebody asked another question earlier. How do you influence people? This was Maureen. How do you influence people, influence and inspire in an environment where the organizational culture is very diverse from your beliefs? That's interesting.
You know, the answer is in the question. It's about influence. So even if they have diverse, you know, kind of culture, different from what you have, how do you influence them to go to what it is that inspire to have within the organization? So you create the vibe. You create like today when I joined Unga, I felt like we a bit of a very conservative organization, autopilot, almost governmentish, you know, in the way we do things. And I wanna make it young again. You know, I want to make the vibe different, you know, and it's up to me now to be able to think how we're gonna do it and influence the same to the teams. So it boils down to influence, back to influence. So in your question, there's the answer.
Thank you. If you allow me, let's hear Sadia, whose hand has been up. And then just one, there is another question here, which might be the most important to the attendee, one of them, and then we can close it. I hope it won't take long. Yes, Sadia, Christine.
Thank you very much. And let me also add my voice into congratulating the presenter on the very important lessons that we have learned this morning and how he has gone up. Congratulations. I would like to address the question of the toxic environment or a toxic person within the organization. I have worked for over 30, 40 years, but I am a believer that there is an ingredient in the toxic person that needs to be changed, not to be fired. I am not for the school of firing. I am for the school of change, and perhaps that is where I thrive best. If you look at what is in the toxic person that talks negatively, sometimes it is not even within your organization. I like when you say you take time to find why they are behaving the way they do. But more often than not, leaders don't think that sometimes it is environmental. It could be that their people are not well. And it could be that it comes maybe from home. Because like you rightly say, if you have like a nagging wife and you're coming to the office in the morning, sometimes you're not toxic because the environment is toxic or you cannot perform, but it is toxic. So those creating environments that help people to survive, help people to know, but in a confidential manner. They may not be able to open to your systems to allow you to get inside them, to tell you what is outside of your workplace. And therefore, we'll end up firing them and they will not go anywhere and we will not help them. That is the bit that I needed to add. Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much, Sadia.
Thank you. Of course, firing is usually the last option after all have been exhausted. Thank you very much for that contribution. Now, last is Monica asking just two questions. How do you move from middle level of management to senior level management? Did you plan your career or things just happened? Kindly help someone who is stuck at the same level for 5 years.
Monica. Okay. So Monica, I am always hungry. I am always hungry to succeed. I najituma. Kama nitumie hiyo word, najituma. When I go into organization, I love to win. And even when I arrived at Unga, I told people, I only know one thing. I love winning. And during winning, I'll have days when I'll falter. I'll have days when I think, what the hell am I doing? I'll have days when I'm not fully inspired, but I know the game is I am a winner. And I tell myself every day that I'm a winner. So I keep improving myself. I read, I engage with teams, I try to learn. Every day is a learning process, you know? Like I just picked from Sadia today, and I know that I need to go deeper into understanding even two family issues of this particular person. Every day is a learning process. And if you notice, and I know there are HR people here, I don't know if this is and I am not saying that you do like I did, but if you look at my stints within organizations, they're not very long as well. Because I normally say I work like I work for God and not man, okay? I work for God. So I give it my 100%, najituma proper. And if you show up with enthusiasm, with results, nobody should deny you growth. And if they deny you growth, it doesn't mean that the growth has to come from the same organization. Growth can come from elsewhere. I'll tell you, every time I've moved on growth, and not just growth, because when it's all said and done, Pia, lazima doing here. What if tunalisha watoto na nini? It's never been less than 50% in terms of growth in my salary as well. So as you grow both monetarily and in your career, the growth can come from within, I'm saying, or it can come from outside. Don't be, and I'm saying this with a pinch of salt because I know HR people can be here and they can be the ones hiring me the next time. But I say, if you want loyalty, buy a German Shepherd. Okay? I am loyal to my family and I'll give my 100%, more than 100% when I'm there. Okay? But I know that within a certain period of time, I will have exhausted my contribution to that organization, or I'll not be growing myself. If I continue doing the same thing, then it becomes routine. I don't enjoy doing what I'm doing. It has to be fresh every day. And for that reason, I want to be challenged. After some period of time, I want the next challenge. If the next challenge is not coming from within, then I have to look for that challenge. For me, it's as simple as that.
True. I've always said that if you do your best, if you give your best, you may not be paid within the organization, but somebody else, some other place will notify you, will notice you because you are in the field, you are playing. Some other person who was hunting, and that is what you've just confessed, that people called you. Yes, you did not apply. That's the way it works. Nature doesn't owe any man, or life, or God doesn't owe any man. If you give your best, the best will always come back to you. That's the way it works. So thank you very much.
And just to add for Monica, I did not did I plan? I knew I wanted in my late 20s or early 30s. In fact, I'd said by 34, I need to be a director in an organization. I think it came a little bit earlier because I was hungry about it. So probably you need to write down where do you want to be?
What you confess, you possess. And that's the way it works. That's your prayer when you make it, and it rhymes. There is something I wrote in one of my books that it will always come even much earlier, as long as it's gotten into your mind and heart. You confess it, most times it comes even much earlier. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming to Power Monday. And this is our contribution to the society. The little that we learn from here and there, that is what personal growth is all about, personal development. People continue to grow. This through my organization, Live Your Dream, that people may be able to live their dreams. You notice that whatever you've been able to achieve is not what you learned in Chiromo. Yes, it is leadership that you continue to learn after your graduation and even during your graduation. One testimony I know is you are very hardworking. I remember when we were doing all the mathematics and all the tough things, you'd still spare time to go do your CPAs and all these other things, you see. So the hard work, by the end of the day, it has some merits. It pays. So thank you very much. I think I will like to ask, if possible, Eunice, you can pass a vote of thanks on our behalf. Eunice, allow, and then we can close maybe by word of prayer. I hope you are in a position to do that. Thank you.
Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
We really want to thank you so much, Joseph, for taking your time to build us and also to help us build our capacity as individuals. So we thank you so much for what you have shared with us. And I thank the group too for creating time also to learn. And as we build our capacity, I hope we are going to change to make it possible. Those of us who have not written, please write what we need to achieve so that we can be able to keep referring to it. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. There is no way we could pay you for this. Yes, so I will call for, and just as a note, we have some other group called Power Monday Group. If you would like to be there, please just text there. And my number I've put there in the chat. My name is Otieno Paul Peter, for just in case you are seeing me for the first time. And I will request somebody to pray for us. I don't know if Dr. Eda, are you in a position to close for us with the word of prayer?
No, sorry, I'm in a public place. I'm not able to do that.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Let's pray.
Yes, thank you.
I can pray.
Pray, Paul.
Go ahead.
Our Lord and God, we honor you this morning. We thank you for your love and your grace and mercy. Thank you that we have learned to be good leaders. Lord, we pray that you would grant us favor and mercy to be able to be people who honor you, even as we lead the people we
we have been given priority to lead. Lord, we thank you for the gift of family. We pray that even as we work in these organizations, we will honor you to take care of our families. We thank you for our speaker today. We pray that you bless him and keep him. We pray that you would expand his territories and bless him, oh God, for the things that he has taught us today. We bless you and we honor you. For this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much, Yudia.
Amen.
Thank you, everybody.